Marcus Sterling sits frozen in his Manhattan penthouse, watching the television screen with growing horror. The morning talk show host smiles brightly at her guest, a young woman with auburn hair and steady eyes. "So, Emma, you've brought something with you today." Emma Chen nods, pulling out a folded document. "I have. This is a non-disclosure agreement I signed 3 years ago. I've never spoken about what happened that night on his yacht, but today I'm going to read every single word of this contract on live television." Marcus's coffee cup slips from his hand, shattering on the marble floor. His blood runs cold as Emma unfolds the paper. The party in question, Marcus Sterling, billionaire owner of Sterling Enterprises, agrees to pay Emma Chen $50,000 in exchange for her complete silence regarding the events of July 15, 2021. The host leans forward. "And what exactly happened that night, Emma?" Marcus reaches for his phone with trembling fingers. 3 years of carefully buried secrets are about to explode across national television. 3 years earlier, Marcus Sterling stands on the deck of his 200-foot yacht, surveying the glittering Manhattan skyline. At 38, he owns half the city's real estate and considers himself untouchable. Tonight's charity gala aboard his yacht brings together the city's elite, all eager to impress him. The staff moves efficiently around him, serving champagne and caviar to his guests. Marcus barely notices them. People are either useful to him or invisible, and the help falls firmly into the latter category. Emma Chen weaves through the crowd with practiced grace, balancing a tray of champagne flutes. At 24, she's worked as a waitress for 3 years, saving every penny for nursing school. Tonight's catering job pays triple her usual rate, money she desperately needs for tuition. She notices Marcus immediately. Everyone does. He commands attention without trying, his presence filling the space around him. But Emma sees something else in his cold gray eyes, a loneliness that money can't fill. "Excuse me," Marcus calls to her as she passes. "The Krug champagne. Make sure it goes to the Japanese investors by the railing." Emma nods politely. "Of course, sir." Marcus studies her face for a moment. Unlike his usual crowd, she doesn't flatter him or try to catch his attention. She simply does her job with quiet dignity. Something about her composure irritates him. The evening progresses smoothly until Marcus overhears a conversation near the bar. 2 socialites gossip loudly about his recent breakup with a supermodel. "She said he was emotionally unavailable. Apparently, he's never told anyone he loves them." "Money can't buy everything," the other replies with a laugh. Marcus's jaw tightens. He drains his scotch and signals for another, his mood darkening. When Emma approaches with a fresh drink, he speaks without looking at her. "You hear that? They think they know me." Emma pauses, unsure if he expects an answer. "I'm sorry, sir. I wasn't listening." "Of course you weren't." Marcus finally looks at her. "You're probably just like them, judging from a distance." Emma's eyes flash with something he doesn't expect: strength. "I don't judge people I don't know, Mr. Sterling." The simple statement catches him off guard. Most people either worship him or fear him. Emma doesn't neither. She treats him like a regular person, and Marcus realizes he can't remember the last time someone did that. As the night wears on, Marcus finds himself watching Emma work. She treats every guest with the same respectful efficiency, never fawning or groveling. When a drunk investor grabs her arm too roughly, she removes his hand with firm politeness. maintaining her professional smile. Near midnight, most guests have left. Marcus stands alone on the deck, nursing his fifth scotch of the evening. The alcohol amplifies his loneliness, turning his usual confidence into something uglier. Emma approaches to collect empty glasses from nearby tables. She moves quietly, trying not to disturb him. "Do you think I'm a good person?" Marcus asks suddenly. "I don't know you well enough to say, sir." "Honest answer. Do you think money makes people evil?" Emma considers this carefully. "I think money shows people who they really are. It doesn't change them, it just makes it easier to be themselves." Marcus turns to face her fully. "And what do you think it's shown about me?" Emma meets his gaze steadily. "I think you're lonely, and I think you use your wealth to keep people at a distance so you don't have to risk being hurt." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. In one sentence, this waitress has seen through walls he spent decades building. His face hardens with embarrassment and rage. "You think you're smart, don't you?" His voice turns cold. "Just another poor girl who thinks she understands rich people." Emma's expression doesn't change. "I should get back to work." As she turns to leave, Marcus makes a decision that will haunt him. "Actually, you should stay. We need to talk."
"Sit," Marcus commands, gesturing to a chair across from his desk. Emma remains standing. "I prefer to stand, thank you." Marcus pours himself another scotch, his movements sharp with alcohol and anger. "You know what I hate most about people like you? People like me. Working class, poor. You think your struggle makes you noble, like suffering equals virtue." Emma's eyes narrow slightly. "I never said that." "You didn't have to. It's written all over your face. Poor little waitress, so much better than the evil rich man." Marcus circles around his desk, moving closer to Emma. The alcohol makes him unsteady, but his voice remains sharp. "You want to know what really happened with my ex-girlfriend? She left because I wouldn't pretend to love her. At least I'm honest about what I am." "And what are you?" Emma asks quietly. "Someone who doesn't lie to make people feel better. Someone who sees the world as it really is." Emma shakes her head. "You see the world as you've made it. That's not the same thing." Marcus slams his glass down on the desk. "Don't psychoanalyze me. You don't know anything about my life. I know you're drunk. I know you're angry. And I know you're trying to make me feel small because I saw something true about you." The words hang in the air between them. Marcus stares at Emma, shocked by her directness. No one speaks to him this way. No one dares. "You're fired," he says finally. "I don't work for you. I work for the catering company." "Then you'll never work another high-end event in this city. I'll make sure of it." Emma's composure finally cracks. "Why? Because I was honest with you? Because you forgot your place." The cruelty in his voice surprises even Marcus. He watches Emma's face change, sees the hurt she tries to hide. For a moment, he wants to take the words back, but his pride won't let him. Emma straightens her shoulders. "My place is serving people food, not stroking their egos. I'm sorry you're unhappy, Mr. Sterling, but that's not my fault." She turns toward the door, but Marcus blocks her path. "We're not finished talking." "Yes, we are." Marcus's hand shoots out, grabbing Emma's wrist, not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough to stop her. "I said we're not finished." Emma looks down at his hand, then back at his face. "Let go of me." Something in her voice, calm, steady, unafraid, makes Marcus release her immediately. He's crossed a line, and they both know it. "I'm sorry," he says quietly. "I didn't mean to." "Yes, you did." Emma's voice is steady, but her eyes are bright with unshed tears. "You meant to scare me, to remind me that you have power and I don't." Marcus opens his mouth to deny it, but the words die in his throat. She's right. He did want to scare her, to put her back in what he considers her place. "This is who you really are," Emma continues, "not the lonely man on the deck. This. Someone who uses his power to intimidate people who can't fight back. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. Everyone has pressure, Mr. Sterling. Most people don't handle it by hurting others." Emma moves toward the door again, and this time Marcus doesn't stop her. But as she reaches for the handle, he speaks. "If you tell anyone about tonight, I'll destroy you." Emma turns back, her face pale but determined. "There's nothing to tell. A rich man got drunk and grabbed a waitress. It happens every day. That's not what happened, isn't it?" Marcus stares at her, seeing himself reflected in her eyes. For the first time in years, he feels ashamed. Emma opens the door, then pauses. "I hope you find whatever you're looking for, Mr. Sterling, but you won't find it by making other people feel small." She leaves, closing the door quietly behind her. Marcus stands alone in his study, surrounded by symbols of his success, feeling more empty than ever.
Marcus doesn't sleep that night. He paces his penthouse, replaying the confrontation with Emma. By morning, his shame has transformed into something more dangerous: paranoia. What if Emma talks? What if she tells people about his behavior? Marcus has built his reputation on control and power. One waitress could destroy everything with a single story. He calls his lawyer at 7 a.m. "I need a non-disclosure agreement. Standard terms, but ironclad." "What's the situation?" his lawyer asks. "Nothing happened, but I need to make sure nothing is said." 3 days later, Marcus tracks down Emma's address through the catering company. He finds her small apartment in Queens, a world away from his Manhattan penthouse. Emma answers the door in nursing scrubs, exhaustion clear on her face. She's just finished a double shift at the hospital where she works part-time while attending school. "Mr. Sterling?" She doesn't hide her surprise. "What are you doing here?" Marcus holds out a manila envelope. "I have something for you." Emma doesn't take it. "I told you I'm not going to talk about what happened. This ensures that. It's a non-disclosure agreement. Sign it, and you get $50,000. Don't sign it, and I'll make sure you never work in this city again." Emma stares at the envelope. $50,000 would pay for her entire nursing program, change her life completely. But taking it would mean admitting something wrong happened. "Why are you doing this?" she asks. "Because I can't trust people. Because everyone has a price." Emma takes the envelope with trembling hands. "And if I don't sign? Then you'll find out what it means to cross me." Emma opens the envelope, scanning the legal document. The terms are clear: complete silence about July 15th, with severe financial penalties for any breach. "This makes it sound like something terrible happened," she says. "Nothing happened. This just makes sure nothing is said." Emma looks up at him. "You're destroying evidence of your own guilt. I'm protecting myself from lies." "These aren't lies, Mr. Sterling. This is what happened. You got drunk, you grabbed me, you threatened me. Those are facts." His jaw tightens. "Sign the paper, Emma." Emma stares at the contract, then at Marcus. She sees something new in his eyes: fear. He's not just protecting his reputation. He's protecting himself from the truth of what he did. $50,000, she says quietly. $50,000. Emma walks to her small kitchen table, picks up a pen, and signs her name at the bottom of the contract. Marcus hands her a check, and she stares at it, more money than she's ever seen. "This doesn't make what you did right," she says. "It makes it disappear. Emma folds the check, then looks directly at Marcus. It doesn't disappear, it just gets buried. And buried things have a way of coming back. Marcus leaves without another word. Emma locks the door behind him, then sits at her kitchen table, staring at the check. She can pay for school, move to a better apartment, start the life she's always wanted. But the money feels heavy in her hands. Every dollar represents a piece of her silence, a part of her truth that she's sold. She deposits the check the next day and enrolls in nursing school. But she keeps the contract, folding it carefully and placing it in a box with her important papers. Over the following months, Emma throws herself into her studies. She excels in her classes, finding purpose in caring for others. But late at night, she sometimes takes out the contract and reads it again. The words feel different now, not like protection, but like a confession. Marcus Sterling, billionaire, was so afraid of her truth that he paid $50,000 to bury it. Emma starts to understand something important. The contract isn't just her silence, it's proof of his guilt. Written evidence that something significant enough happened to warrant legal action. She graduates nursing school with honors, gets a job at a prestigious hospital, and builds a new life. But she never forgets that night on the yacht, or the way Marcus looked at her when he handed her the check. The contract remains in her box, waiting.
2 years pass. Marcus's life appears unchanged. Same penthouse, same wealth, same power. But something fundamental has shifted. The night with Emma haunts him in ways he doesn't understand. He finds himself thinking about her words, about the person she saw in him, about the loneliness she identified so clearly. Marcus tries to fill the emptiness with work, travel, and meaningless relationships. But nothing works. The shame follows him everywhere, a constant reminder of who he really is. One evening, Marcus attends another charity gala. As he watches the staff serve his guests, he remembers Emma's quiet dignity. He wonders what happened to her, whether she finished nursing school, whether she thinks about that night. "You look troubled," says Catherine Mills, a long-time friend and board member of several charities. Marcus drains his scotch. "Do you think people can change, Catherine?" "Of course. Why do you ask? What if someone did something terrible, something that showed them who they really were?" Catherine studies his face. "Then they'd have to decide if they wanted to stay that person." Marcus excuses himself and walks to the balcony. The city sprawls below him, millions of lights representing millions of lives. He used to feel powerful looking down at all of it. Now he feels small. He pulls out his phone and does something he's never done before. He searches for Emma Chen online. It takes several tries, but he finally finds her. She's working as a registered nurse at Mount Sinai Hospital, her LinkedIn profile showing various humanitarian projects. The photo shows Emma in scrubs, smiling at the camera with genuine warmth. She looks happy, fulfilled, in a way Marcus has never been. He realizes that while he's been drowning in guilt, she's been building a life of purpose. Marcus closes his phone and makes a decision. He wants to apologize, to make amends somehow, but he realizes he has no right to disrupt her life for his own peace of mind. Instead, he begins to change. Slowly, quietly, without fanfare. He starts treating his employees better, learning their names, asking about their families. He donates money anonymously to nursing programs, telling himself it's not about Emma, but knowing it is. But the guilt continues to eat at him. Marcus realizes that buying his way out of consequences didn't eliminate them. It just delayed them.
The truth of what he did, what he is, follows him everywhere. One night, unable to sleep, Marcus drives to Queens. He parks across from Emma's old apartment building, now empty. She's moved on, built a better life with the money from their contract, but Marcus remains trapped in that moment, in that room, in the choice he made to silence her instead of facing himself. He starts seeing a therapist, something he never thought he'd do. Dr. Sarah Chen, no relation to Emma, though the name makes him flinch, helps him understand that his wealth has been both his shield and his prison. You paid for silence, but you can't pay for forgiveness, and you can't buy your way out of the truth, she tells him during one session. Marcus nods, finally understanding. The contract he made Emma sign wasn't just about protecting his reputation. It was about avoiding the work of becoming a better person. What if I want to apologize? Why do you want to apologize? Because I was wrong. Because I hurt her. Because I want to be better. Dr. Chen leans forward. And what if she doesn't want to hear it? What if your apology is more about making you feel better than helping her? Marcus considers this. Then I need to be better whether she forgives me or not. That's the first honest thing you've said about this situation. Marcus begins to understand that true change isn't about grand gestures or public redemption. It's about the daily choice to be different, to treat people with dignity, to use his power to help rather than harm. But he still thinks about Emma, wonders if she ever thinks about him. He doesn't know that she's been thinking about him too, in very different ways. Emma has been watching Marcus's charitable work, reading about his company's new employee policies, seeing the small changes in how he presents himself publicly. She wonders if he's genuinely changed, or if it's just better public relations. Late one night, Emma takes out the contract again. She reads it differently now, not as a symbol of her silence, but as proof of his guilt. She thinks about other women who might have faced similar situations, other people who might have been silenced by money and power. Emma makes a decision that will change both their lives forever.
3 months later, Emma sits in the green room of a popular morning talk show. Her hands are steady as she holds the contract, though her heart pounds with nervous energy. The producer briefs her one more time. You're sure you want to do this? Once it's out there, you can't take it back. Emma nods. I'm sure. She's thought about this moment for months, not as revenge, but as responsibility. She's learned that Marcus isn't the only powerful man who uses NDAs to silence women. Her story might help others find their voice. The host, Jennifer Walsh, greets Emma warmly as they go live. We're here with Emma Chen, a registered nurse who says she has an important story to tell. Emma, thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. Jennifer leans forward. You've brought something with you today. I have. This is a non-disclosure agreement I signed 3 years ago. I've never spoken about what happened that night on his yacht, but today I'm going to read every single word of this contract on live television. Across the city, Marcus watches in his penthouse, his coffee cup shattering on the floor. He knows what's coming, knows he deserves it, but he's not the same man who wrote that contract. Emma reads the document calmly, professionally. She explains the night on the yacht, Marcus's behavior, the way he used his power to intimidate her. Her voice never wavers, never becomes emotional or vindictive. Why are you speaking out now? Jennifer asks. Because silence protects the wrong people. Because money shouldn't be able to buy truth. And because I want other women to know they don't have to stay quiet. Marcus reaches for his phone, then stops. His first instinct is to call his lawyers, to fight back. But that's exactly what the old Marcus would have done. Instead, he does something unprecedented. He calls the television station. "I'd like to make a statement," he tells the producer, "about Emma Chen's story." An hour later, Marcus sits in the same chair Emma just vacated. Jennifer Walsh looks skeptical as he adjusts his microphone. "Mr. Sterling, you've asked to respond to Miss Chen's allegations. What do you have to say?" Marcus looks directly into the camera. "Everything Emma Chen said is true. I behaved terribly that night. I used my power to intimidate her, and then I used my money to silence her. I was wrong." Jennifer's eyebrows raise. "Are you admitting to the behavior she described?" "I'm admitting to being the kind of man who thought money could erase his mistakes. I'm admitting to being someone who hurt another person and then tried to make it disappear." Marcus takes a breath. "I've spent the last 3 years trying to become better, not because I thought this day would come, but because I realized I didn't like who I was. Emma Chen didn't destroy my reputation today. She told the truth about who I used to be." The interview continues for another 10 minutes. Marcus doesn't make excuses or try to minimize his behavior. He simply accepts responsibility and talks about the changes he's made. Emma watches from her apartment, surprised by his honesty. She expected denials, legal threats, character assassination. Instead, she sees something she never expected: genuine remorse. After the show, Emma's phone buzzes with a text message from an unknown number. "Thank you for your courage. I hope someday I can earn your forgiveness, but I understand if that's not possible. M." Emma stares at the message for a long time. She thinks about forgiveness, about growth, about the man she met on the yacht versus the man she saw on television. She types back, "Forgiveness isn't something you earn. It's something you choose. I choose to forgive the man you were. I hope you can forgive him too." Marcus reads her response with tears in his eyes. It's not absolution. He knows he can't undo what he did. But it's something more valuable: the possibility of redemption. Emma deletes the contract from her phone and throws away the printed copy. She doesn't need it anymore. The truth is out, and she's free. Marcus frames Emma's text message and puts it on his desk, not as a trophy, but as a reminder that the truth doesn't destroy you. It sets you free to become who you really want to be. Neither of them knows if they'll ever meet again, but both of them know they're different people than they were 3 years ago. Sometimes that's enough.